Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Erickson TV. Curtis here with Lauren. Hello Lauren.
Hey everybody.
Hey, Lauren, our last episode we talked about the an update on the inflows and outflows of stock mutual funds, and what we determined is that people are still basing their investment decisions on fear.
Right.
And
yeah,
perhaps
exactly.
some irrational fears.
Right, yeah.
Because the markets have gone up significantly since 2008. And what I found an article in the USA Today that was very interesting. They call it the irrational case of Stock-O-Phobia. And what they said, they looked at, they based it on the U.S. stock market.
Okay.
So not all the indexes, but they went back to like 1926, and they talked about 2008 we had a greater than 20% decline in the market. Mm-hmm. That's only happened 6 times since 1926, a 20% decline. And some of the other statistics they said were that the years that the market increased 20% during that time in a given year was 32 times.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and they said from 10%, just the kind of more of the market average of 10% growth, that's happened greater than half the time.
Okay.
So the takeaway that they're saying here, which is very reinforces what we talk about all the time, is that the fear of another big stock drop irrational, because it will happen.
That's true.
But it doesn't happen that frequently.
Right.
But it will happen.
Right.
And they're saying that is to, of course, what most people did is, during the decline of 2008, they took their money out of the portfolios, mm-hmm. and they never got back in. Because of some fear that it's going to happen again.
Well, I think the fear of massive stock declines is a reasonable thing to be afraid of if you're one of these people who either has your money in stocks or has your money in cash. And unfortunately, that's an attitude that's prevalent even among a lot of professionals. Like they'll talk about, the market and safety, as if it's two completely separate things, can never be combined, and you just, you do some sort of weird psychological trick where you pretend like you have a barrier between the two ways you look at money. And if you cause yourself to think that way, then of course it's something to be afraid of.
Right.
I mean, but there are much simpler solutions to looking at investing, where you don't use that trick where you try to compartmentalize all of your different assets in different kinds of places, and then look at each one like under a microscope. Right.
And I think there's another type of safety or fear that most people don't think about. It's the fear. Well, it's the safety. There's a lack of safety in having all your money in cash, because it's not growing. It's declining in purchasing power.
Very slowly and very surely.
So that's that. But the other thing is that I think a great tool to help modify or maybe reduce this fear, maybe not totally eliminate it, is to look at the allocation between stocks and bonds and fixed income and conservative fixed income, and tone down that volatility. So if we did have our inevitable 20% or greater drop, one of the 6 times again in the future, it's not going to be such a meaningful decline.
Right, and then also it affects the conservative side of your portfolio too. You don't have to just sit around and worry about, oh, how there's this money over here and it's not growing, I might as well just stick it in a jar and hide it in the backyard somewhere. When you can stop thinking of things in those sort of radical extremes, investing becomes a lot easier, and it becomes a situation where you're trying to decide about taking marginal steps one way or marginal steps another way, instead of this really extreme thinking like, oh my god, my money is going to disappear after inflation, or oh my god, I'm going to lose all my money in the next stock market crash. You can think in terms of more smaller steps, one direction or another direction, instead of it being all or nothing all the time.
To finish this episode off, I just wanted to emphasize that if you feel like you have this fear, please talk to Lauren or myself or both of us, and we would be happy to help come up with a more proactive plan to deal with the fear in the future. Thank you for watching this episode of Erickson TV. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
See you next time.